Blog Talk Radio.
What makes a man? Is it the power in his hands? Is it his quest for glory? Give it all you got to fight to the top, so we can know your story. Now you're a man, a man. Now you're a man, a man. You are.
Well, thank you, Todd. Todd's never happy unless he's playing something that's really loud and screamy, but he picks the music, and I'm Mandy Goodhandy, everybody, and my business partner and friend Todd Klinck is on the line, and we're going to be talking to Kinnan McKinnon tonight. We're very happy to have Kinnan on the show. It was great that he was available to talk because we think this is an important subject, which is this is going out to all the trans men out there. And we're going to get some information from Kinnan and share some opinions and talk about how trans men, are dealt with in the community and in the large scope of life in general. And most importantly, where can trans men go for surgery and be comfortable for their surgery process? But anyway, we'll get into that, of course, when we bring Kinnan on the line. I was going to mention, I'm going to apologize in advance out there to people because Todd Klinck, my business partner, is he's unmedicated.
Oh, God.
He's not unmedicated, but he has a prescription it's being put on hold or something, Todd.
Oh, it's just I ran out of Ritalin and that's basically it. So I'm usually on Ritalin, but I'm on some. I just reduced my dose for the day, so I'm a little more sleepy.
So he's going to be down dosing for how long is this going to last? Todd?
Oh no, tomorrow I should be back.
Okay, then I don't have to apologize to everybody because you won't be bumping into very many people.
No.
Okay, because I've seen Todd off his medication. It ain't pretty. So that's why I was kind of putting out a warning label. My business partner is not on his regular medication, so you never know what's going to happen. But you know what, Todd? Welcome to my world where you get to see everything the way it actually is, and it's horrible. Isn't it?
No, it's all right. I don't mind.
This coming from somebody who spent half a day in the real world. Oh, it's all right. Oh, I love it. Woo. Yeah, okay. Anyway, we won't get into that any further then about your medication. I didn't mean to make fun of you, Todd.
Oh no, sorry, I don't mind.
It's not easy. So I was going to do a rant, but I've decided not to do a rant. And do you want to know why?
Why?
Oh, do you think that was rhetorical? Okay. Because I really want to talk to this young man that's coming on the line for many reasons. Not just to educate people out there that are listening, but also to educate myself a lot. We have a lot of trans men friends, Todd and I do. And we've met a lot of trans men friends, obviously, through our venue. We've never had a chance, in most of the cases, to really talk to them about their experience. And as a trans woman, some of it I can relate to and understand it, just trans in general. But when it comes to someone who's born female and now living male and going through that process, I can't relate to that 100% only because I haven't walked around in their shoes, except, of course, before my transition, I walked around in guys' shoes. So, yeah, I've walked around in guys' shoes, but I haven't walked around in a trans man's shoes. How's that?
Oh, that was good.
Is that good? Did I sum that one up?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Did you want to phone him?
Oh, so yeah, do you want me to
Yeah, call him up and we can talk to him about. Oh, you weren't ready? See, this is Todd's the producer of the show. You can tell. He's never prepared. I'm just joking. That was my fault because I kind of, came up the last minute going, oh.
Are you there, Kinnan? Hi, Todd.
Okay, so we didn't say anything that upset you for you to hang up then at this point. That's good to know, Ken.
I'm still here, Mandy.
Well, that's great. Thank you. I want to thank you for coming on the show, first of all, and second of all, I think the people out there listening, I know there's going to be a lot of trans men listening. That much I know, because we do have a lot of the trans men out there in the community we have met, some in passing, some we know a little more than others, and there's been a lot of trans guys who have actually worked at our club. And so I'm sure they'll be listening to, this particular broadcast, and people who like trans men and people who want to know more about the subject, which is important. And so let's talk about...
Well, thanks for having me on. And
no, you're so welcome. You're so welcome.
Sharing some of my experiences.
Yeah, no, it's great. We're looking forward to that. You have you go and you work out at the gym on a regular basis, and you don't just work out at the gym. You're actually on a program. Am I right? You must have bodybuilding.
I go to Good Life. I wouldn't call myself a bodybuilder. I would call myself a powerlifter. There's a bit of a difference. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm on a powerlifting team. I am on a training program. I develop my own programs though. But for the last, I guess, about 4 years, I've spent a lot of time in the gym, and I think that was a big way that I was able to start transitioning my physical body from female to male through weightlifting and through my diet.
Do you find, I know with trans women, I can only speak for some trans women because I don't ever like to speak for trans women generally ever because I'm only one person, but do you feel in the cases that you've dealt with other trans men, are you guys hard on yourselves, harder than other people would be?
It's hard. I'm the same way. I don't like to speak for other trans men, so I'll speak from my own experiences. I would say that, I probably am a little bit more hard on myself about my body. And a lot of that is, I guess, because I have a certain, I guess, in trying to decide to transition, I had a certain image in mind of what I wanted my body to look like, and I had certain things that I was dissatisfied with in my female form. So I would say I was more hard on my own body just in that way, because I knew what I wanted and I knew what I wanted to do with my body. So yes, for me personally.
There was a kind of something I've mentioned a couple of times when I was joking on stage when I was hosting, and that was that. It's too bad that trans women and trans men can't all go to one big room and we all switch body parts, and it was just so much simpler, because it's almost like we're achieving what we want to live as, but we have to live with certain things that's almost impossible to change.
Yeah. Me and my girlfriend joke around about that sometimes because she's a trans woman, and we make jokes sometimes about trading body parts or the parts of my body that I don't like, that I'd like to get rid of, that she wants. So we have a laugh about it, but I think we're both.
And and what else can we do to kind of laugh at it? Because we don't want to take ourselves too seriously, of course. Yeah. It's because I do know of some trans people who are they do take themselves too seriously, and that's never a good road to go down. Yeah. Because you have to have a bit of a sense of humor and realize none of us are perfect. And it's like I say to a lot of the trans women, you know what? They'll say something silly like, I just want to be more feminine. It's like, no, it doesn't work that way. You can be who you are and never change who you are. And that doesn't mean women are all feminine.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
So I think we would be happier within ourselves if we just try and be us and stop criticizing. We criticize ourselves more than other people would criticize us, and that's part of it.
For sure. And I think, like, for me personally, I am at a place where I am pretty satisfied with my body. Yeah, for the most part, I'm pretty happy with what I look like, with what I've done. I don't have any plans for any more surgeries besides, like, I had my chest surgery and that's it. I don't want any other surgeries. And, yeah, this is the body that I have now, and it's the body that I'm going to have for the rest of my life. So I try and be as kind as possible to it. But I'm not beating it down at the gym and trying to get stronger, because I'm hard on my body that way. Like, I'm always have some kind of injury.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
So it's good that you've gotten to the point where you're kind of going, I'm happy with exactly the distance I've come in my transition, if you want to call it transition. And so you've come to that pleasing moment. And that's good that you're not forcing yourself to, go, what would you call, I don't even know what all the way is. Even as a trans woman, I don't. It's, we don't have to, though, anymore. Like, we have an option now. Like, there's, like, one of the things that I'm displeased with is the width of my hips, and I wish that my hips were smaller. So, like, I could get liposuction. That is an option for some trans men will get liposuction in their hips. But I just think that I just need to accept that this is the size of my hips, and I don't know, keep doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. Well, if you're having anything taken out of your hips, you can pass it over to me. Okay, and I'm sure your trans girlfriend said the same thing.
Yeah.
But so, when did you? Okay, I can probably say this safely and say I'm sure you always knew you should have been a boy from the get-go.
No, I don't have that experience. I wouldn't say that.
So you didn't, when you were a little kid, you didn't think even at that point that, I just naturally feel I should be a boy?
I didn't have it. Like, it wasn't that I thought I should be a boy. I knew that I hung out with a lot of boys, and I remember feeling some jealousy towards my younger brother that was just a couple of years younger than me. And I was very athletic and liked building tree houses, and I was very independent. So in that way, like, I was very masculine, and I enjoyed those activities. But I also really liked playing with Barbies, and I don't know. But I didn't have a sense that I should have been a boy. Like, that was never something that was part of my childhood.
So when was it you came to realization that you wanted to live as a man as opposed to a female?
Probably around, I started thinking about that around age 23 or 24. Like, I came out as bisexual when I was 19, and then I started becoming more integrated in the LGBT community and experimenting with my gender presentation a lot more, like wearing more boyish clothes. And the more and more I did that, the more it felt comfortable, and the more that I felt that was how I wanted to live.
It's interesting that you would tell me this story, because it's kind of different from most of the stories I hear, which is good. I mean, everybody has different views, and everyone has a different background. And most people I've spoken to that are trans knew way back, but then they fought it through their life, and then decided at some point, you know what, obviously there's something wrong, and I want to transition. So it's interesting to know that you never felt you should have been a boy, but you kind of liked what boys were doing. And is that am I putting this right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you said the jealousy, so it's like you wanted to be like your brother to a certain degree?
Yeah, I knew that I was treated different for being a girl. I knew that things that my brothers could do, like, it was okay for them, and I got treated differently for behaving in the same way as them, and I remember feeling upset by that.
But I didn't feel like as far as I can remember, I don't remember ever thinking, oh, I want to be a boy.
Do you think, though, that's...
But I think that's I have a lot of trans men friends, and this is a similar story. I don't know. I have heard this story from other trans men.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that people generally have changed their thinking about that, though, especially nowadays when it comes to little girls, that little girls are no longer kind of looked upon, or little boys looked upon, because they're not acting what people feel should be masculine or feminine?
Sorry, I don't think I get the question.
It wasn't really.
It's like it's okay. It's okay for them to do that?
I'm hoping that we'll come a long way is what I'm trying to say, because little kids now, I know, for example, one of my nephews is very feminine. But it seems to be more accepted now that little boys can be feminine and little girls can be masculine if they want to be.
Well, I hope so.
And a little more than it was before.
Yeah, I think enlightened parenting, like any sort of educated, enlightened, open-minded parent, it's the proper way to raise your kids now, which is good.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's heading towards that. I don't know, because not having a family of my own or living in the suburbs where families are being raised, I don't see it a lot, so I really don't know. But I'm hoping that happens. I did a search. Kinnan, I did a search on doctors out there who actually perform, I call it top surgery. I'm not sure if that's uncool. But,
top surgery or chest surgery.
Okay. All right. So I did a search anyway, and Canada-wide, I only found one that was actually in Ontario and not one in Toronto. And he's in Mississauga.
Oh yeah, that's my search. I'm in Mississauga. There's more than that. Maybe
so where are they? They're not on Google, and how do you find them?
Well, I don't know how you find them.
Word of mouth, probably, right?
Word of mouth, yeah.
Because you certainly can't go on the yellow pages. But
I have a friend who had his chest surgery done in Halifax, in Nova Scotia. There's so if you get approval from CAMH, you'll get sent to a doctor in Montreal. I think that's.
Could you explain what to the people listening? Could you explain that CAMH? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So in Ontario, sex reassignment surgeries are covered by the provincial health plan, but there is a loophole in that you have to qualify. So you have to go to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health and see a number of doctors, like a few psychologists, psychiatrists, and they approve you for a provincially funded SRS, and then you get sent to Montreal. The wait list to be seen at CAMH is about 1 year, and then after one year you can get your appointment, and then you get your assessment, and then you'll find out if they approve you for the funded surgery, and then it's another, I don't know, the wait time varies, but it might be about 6 more months after that.
So in that case, the government will pay for the top surgery?
Yeah, it's a long wait list. And you have to qualify too. So there's some people that they might not even qualify after that long wait.
And how do they judge what's qualification?
Well, they'll do mental.
Do you have to do a questionnaire? Do you have to walk like a man? Do you have to? I mean, I find it ridiculous. I'm sorry, but anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, they'll ask you questions about your mental health history and like self-harming behavior, your sexuality, sexual health practices, and I think like get an assessment of what your life's like and what kind of support you have for surgery aftercare, that kind of stuff.
Todd, I would love to get one of them on this show. I want to talk to these people that actually talk to trans people and actually ask those kind of questions, because Kinnan, you know, and I know, and anybody that would know that has any common sense, who you sleep with and what your sexuality is has nothing to do with what gender you feel. So how do they judge that? And that's rhetorical. You don't have to really come up with an answer. I find that frustrating. I always have, that a panel of medical, in quotes, professionals decide that sort of thing, for people.
Yeah.
I can understand if someone is kind of, maybe they have delusions, then, okay, maybe you're not really thinking this out. Maybe it's not a gender issue with you. I get some of the cases that might be a problem, but when it comes to the masses...
But even that situation, like, I know some people, like, maybe if they're presenting with an anxiety disorder or something, they might not be seen fit to make that decision, but maybe they're suffering from the anxiety disorder because of being trans and having and not having access to surgeries that are necessary for their medical and physical health.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope there. It's I just tend to get angry at certain situations, especially situations of people that would never understand in a million years how a trans person really feels unless they're trans themselves. To sit there, it's almost like sitting in front of a board of people that decide, what your fate is going to be.
In your experience, has it gotten that, like, I've heard, but this is years and years and years ago, some of my older trans female friends about the ridiculousness of the process. But is there a positive to it now? Have they gotten better? Or are they not an idiot panel?
From what I've heard, like, they have made a lot of changes to the adult gender identity clinic, and there's a few people working there that have really listened to the trans community and tried to make some changes, but there haven't been any changes as far as I'm aware of at the children's gender clinic. So there's also a treatment clinic for children, and I've heard that they've been doing some pretty harmful stuff to kids that present with gender dysphoria.
Oh, Kenan, I don't even think I want to walk down that path right now, because that would just send me into it. I would be sent into a dither, and we probably have our satellites knocked out and everything, because that just pisses me off. But anyway. So that being said, okay, all I found, just to make that the point again, is I only found one guy who's actually searchable, and that was Dr. McLean in Mississauga. But what surprises me, you mentioned someone in Nova Scotia. I got that, which thank you for that.
Yeah.
But where is the Toronto doctors? Even my doctor, who will deal with trans women, they don't offer a lot to the trans guys. And I don't know why that is.
I think there's one other guy in Toronto who does top surgery. I can't remember his name right now. His name.
It's okay. We can add that later.
I had a friend. Oh, maybe it's Duperre or Dupere. So there's Dr. McLean is in Mississauga. That's who I went to. And then there's Dr. Duperre, because I had a friend who went to him.
Okay, well, if you can get a hold of your friend when you get a chance, then we can put it on this radio show, or at least try and contact the doctor. We would love to have a doctor on the show who will talk about this top surgery, because people need to know, they want to know about it. And there's a lot of people out there that are probably even thinking of becoming trans or living as trans. I shouldn't say becoming, because but they're living as trans now in their head. Yes, I know. Just look at me. I don't even know what I'm talking about, and I'm trans myself. But the thing is, there's a lot of people are seeking information, and they don't know where to find it. And this is part of the frustration. I get emails all the time from people asking me things, about still talking about what doctors to go to, how do you transition, how do you get hormones, and I'm thinking, why isn't this easy to find? And it's really not when you think about it, Kenan.
Yeah, it's not.
You have to rely on each other a lot.
Absolutely. That's how I found it out. All of the information that I know is just from friends.
Mhm.
And so, how is Dr. McLean? Is he or is it he or she?
It's a he.
Is he specialized? He's in it. I mean, He's been doing this for a while.
Well, he has, and I think he's been doing chest surgery since, like, I think he said the 80s.
Wow.
And he's a really interesting guy. I like him. I had a really good experience with him, and his surgical team, or just everyone who works in his office is really wonderful. And I think the majority of my trans guy friends in Toronto have went to him. So he does good work, and he also, the other thing that's interesting about him is that I know from what I've heard, a lot of surgeons who do top surgery, like they will do an assessment of your transition story and ask about your sexuality as well, even though you're paying out of pocket. So you're paying for the surgery, but they'll still do a kind of an assessment first. But he will do top surgeries on people who identify outside of the transsexual spectrum. So he will do top surgeries on butch-identified people, like genderqueer, trans-masculine types, like people who aren't necessarily on testosterone, like hormone therapy, but have some sort of gender dysphoria with their chest and want to have like male chest features.
Which is the right of every adult to decide.
Yeah, especially if
you're
paying like $7,000 to $9,000, then yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you totally. I would love to, and I'll contact him directly, but I'd love to be able to talk to him on this show because of the like I was saying to you, people are reaching out. People want information. And if this show can bring that information, that would be great. And tell me, Kenan, the experience. And I'm sure people want to hear this. And I don't want to sound stupid. All I'm doing is just asking you questions for people out there listening that I think would want to hear about. Okay, and tell me about the discomfort, the pain, or anything like that you went through, or was it just a very simple procedure?
Well, I think it's different for everyone, but for me, I was in quite a bit of pain for about 3 days. I was lucky. I had my parents. They came all the way from Nova Scotia to come and take care of me, and they stayed with me for a week. And I had to it was mostly just getting up and down, getting up and out of bed, but my dad had to help me do that because I would get like shooting pains in my chest. But I went back to work after I think I just took a week off. So yeah, I went back to work pretty soon after. But after about 2 weeks, there was really no pain at all.
It's funny, your experience with that sounds so similar to the implant experience for myself, and probably most trans women out there that have that. It's the getting out, the laying down and the getting out.
How long was it painful for you?
You know what? I didn't have a lot of pain, but then I'm the kind of bitch that can take a lot of pain, so it wasn't really all that painful. And so it was uncomfortable, not painful.
Yeah.
Maybe the first day there was some pain, and that's about it. But it was more discomfort and, kind of very uncomfortable getting up, trying to get up, and laying back down again. But after about a week, it was like it was fine. It was it turned out to be just fine. But it's interesting, the similarities with that. What about incision? When they're doing top surgery, do they go under, along your the muscle? Do they go to the side, or?
Yeah, there's a few different procedures, and you, to a certain degree, the patients can choose. But like for people who have larger size chests before surgery, they'll pretty much be limited to have what's called double incision or double mastectomy, which is what I had. And you're right, it goes, so there are 2 large incisions that go from the center, and it's like underneath, just below where the pectoral muscle is, and it'll go almost close to the armpit, not quite like, a couple inches from the armpit. Mm-hmm. And then also the nipples are shaved down and resized as well. those are taken off as well, and then put back on.
Oh, cool.
And
I never even thought about it.
And then there's another procedure that's called peri-areola, and it's so again the nipples are resized, but the incision goes right around the areola, and then the tissue's taken out from under there, from that incision, and then that's a much less invasive because you're not having such a big incision, but it's still, I've heard it's still quite painful.
Is that the one that could also be described almost like lipo? Because our friend Tyler described his as he used the word lipo when he didn't have any big scars.
Yeah, that's the same. Yeah, and also some cis men who have gynecomastia, I think that's what the condition called. So they develop some breast tissue. They can have that procedure as well. It's the same one.
Yeah.
They're similar.
Yeah, it's more common than people even know about. It's the cis men with breasts. Yeah, happens.
So then it can be in different areas. I think it's interesting for people to hear that. It's the same as the breast implants. The doctors can go in different areas depending on how large of the implant that you're getting. They can go along the bottom underneath. They can go through the armpit. They can go through the nipple. Okay. So there's different ways of doing it.
And as a bodybuilder, was that part of the discussion with your doctor about how to? Because I found that fascinating when I've looked at pictures of different trans guys, and when I think about surgery, I find it interesting, like it's an art form. And if you could address that.
I thought he was a powerlifter.
Well,
I was a little bit. I don't know if I wasn't that very nitpicky about what the end result was going to look like, except that I was like he knew that I was really into building muscle, and that I had spent years building up my pec muscles. So he said that actually that was going to benefit me because my pectoral muscles were already so developed that he could see where to put the scar, and he could hide it underneath my pec. But one of the things that was my biggest concern, and actually I was very hesitant to even have surgery at that time, was because I was just getting into competing in powerlifting, and I was terrified that my bench press would never be as good as it was right before surgery, because I was in a powerlifting contest just 4 days before my chest surgery date, so I bench pressed 209 pounds in that contest, so I thought I was really scared that I would never bench press like that again. I'm happy to say that I have another contest coming up in 3 weeks, and I'm going for about 235 or 240 pound bench press. So I have added some power in my chest. So I was really worried that I wouldn't fully recover from the surgery, but I did.
Cool.
Well, look at you running around lifting big, heavy things.
Yeah, that's my thing. My passion. I love it.
Well, that's great to hear, and I'm sure a lot of people are out there, they're finding that fascinating, which is it's wonderful. I was going to mention you have you invited. I know you invited a lot of people, but you invited me on Facebook to an event that you're going to be taking part in at the Hen House, which is, and the Hen House is Bobby Ballin, right, Todd?
Yeah.
Yeah, we love Bobby. Just a sweetheart.
I was there on last Saturday night too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're going to tell us about that, but before you do that, I want to mention that when somebody sends me an invite, this is one of my pet peeves. When somebody sends me an invitation and I actually can't go or won't go, I always click decline.
Oh.
And I'll tell you the reason why I do that, because that way people who are holding the event or even the bar itself can get better track of who actually is coming.
Oh, okay.
And there's a lot of people out there that will say they're coming. They mean well. They're being sweet and going, oh, yeah, I support, I'm coming, but they're actually not coming. So it gives you the wrong...
false sense of hope.
Exactly. Interesting way
you know
of putting
what?
it.
I say yes to a lot of events, and you know why? It's so that if I click decline, then it's not going to remind me about the event, and sometimes I will forget about events, so I need to say yes so that it reminds me that it's happening.
You know, you can do that with maybe.
What's that? Oh, right.
You can click on maybe attend, and then you
it?
still get all the updates, and you can still change
Really?
your mind later.
Okay.
I do decline with I definitely can't go.
And
a lot of the times these events are going on at the same time as we already have something where I'm definitely not going to be going. But the reason I brought this up is I didn't want you to think that I clicked decline, I hate him, I'm not going there. So I'd love to get out to the hen house and check it out sometime, actually, because like I said, we really like Bobby. We've worked with Bobby a long time ago on a project. But so tell me about this, though. When I was reading what was going on at the event, something about building a penis. Did I read that right?
I'm not.
What are you up to, Kinnan? What's
Phil
going on?
Has me building this penis out of a baguette or not? I just have many sexy outfits planned for the evening, and I'll be hanging out with Phil, who is DJing. But it's also Nuit Blanche that night, so that's where it's an art installation made out of baguettes.
And is that going to be outside the club or in the club?
I think it'll probably be outside, I imagine.
And how big is this penis going to be, dear?
As big as it possibly can.
As
big as we can make it. Awesome.
With baguettes. Now, when you're saying baguettes, you're not talking about the croissant type things, right? You're talking about plastic.
No, I'm talking about bread.
He's making a penis
bread.
Okay, so I didn't get that wrong. Okay, you're making out of bread.
Because it's the theme of the party is French porn. Tapat. It's Tapat party, and it's this month's French porn. So I think that's where the baguette's coming from.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't even piece that together.
You see
I'm
the
an
connection?
idiot. I do now that you told me, but I didn't even think about that because, as far as I know, we're in Toronto, so I get confused. But so this is bread. Okay, how are you putting this bread together? Like, how does the bread go together?
I don't know. You'll have to come by and find out.
Well, I won't be able to because I already told you I clicked on decline and now I'm not allowed. I'll be banished.
Come by and
I can't. It's on a night that we have something going at our place, so I'm not able to. Otherwise, I would. I'd love to see somebody build a penis. But what happens once it's built? Are you going to see how many people you can get sitting on it, or what's going on?
I have no idea. I hope so. I'll try and climb to the top.
Okay. So there'll be pictures, right? You're going to take pictures of this said penis, right?
There's always pictures.
All right, that'll be fun then. I'll be looking forward to checking on your Facebook and seeing an update. Okay, on how this went.
Yeah.
Note Blanche. Yes, this is Todd. That's that event where people go around and they do art all over the city, right?
Yeah, that's what this is. He's building a penis. It's part of the art.
Yeah, so that sounds like an interesting, fun time. Now, are you getting into this now? Where kind of like as a side thing. Are you going to be doing this more often? Hosting parties, becoming part of the entertainment and such.
Maybe. We'll see. I guess so.
Are you being mysterious with me?
I think I'm mysterious with myself.
Okay.
Phil asked me a couple of weeks ago to host this party, and I said sure. I think it was from he saw me perform with Judy Virago at Sodom at Club 120, and I think he enjoyed my performance when I rescued her in my Baywatch style and performed mouth-to-mouth resuscitation on her on the stage, and then he asked me to come out to his party.
So you're going to play it all by ear and kind of, if things come up and you're interested and you decide you want to do more performance or more hosting, that you'll just do. That's basically what you're trying to tell me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've performed a few times, and I do really enjoy it. I just find it's hard to find the time to rehearse because I have just my own full-time job, and then I have other side projects going on, and then my workout schedule, and my dating life. I'm very busy. I'm a very busy guy.
Dating life. Okay, you know what, Kenny? You brought this up, and I didn't. So I'm gonna get Todd to take over on this one because this is a dude thing. So Todd was going to talk to you about your dating.
Oh yeah, we wanted to talk about your dating a little bit. We talked about it before once on the show with I find it fascinating, just the subject of trans men and cis men and how they
you have to define what you just said. I hate to interrupt, but not everybody would understand what you just said, Todd. Was cis men? Is that what you said?
Oh yeah, I know. You didn't even know what that word meant until like a week ago.
I said that earlier too.
And I don't know what the hell it is. So, so define for us idiots out there what that means.
Does Todd want to define it, or
no, Kenan, you should.
Oh, okay. So cis is a term that refers to people who aren't trans. It's pretty much everyone who's not trans. So a cis woman is a woman who was born female and identifies as female and a woman, and a cis man is man, was born male, identifies as male, and a man. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a more polite way or a politically correct way of what they used to say bio. Like it's less offensive.
Okay, so the heteros and the straights, and so that's all out now. We can't say hetero or straight?
No, I'm talking about gender, not about sexuality.
Yeah, gender, not about sexuality.
I think, remember, Mandy, how the term used to be bio girls, a bio girl or a bio boy, meaning somebody like me.
Okay.
Now it's cis, C-I-S.
Okay. People have to stop changing things on me because I can't keep up with it. It was bad enough that they added a whole fucking territory up there north of Canada without informing me. Okay, none of it, and I hadn't heard about it until like a little while ago. Somebody told me there was a new territory. It's not fair. You know, they don't tell people, so I need to know this. So this is new. Okay, so I'll call people cis from now on. How's that?
Yeah.
All right. So I'll be politically correct. Anyway, Todd, boys, I interrupted.
I don't know, do you want to share any of your dating experiences or your hookup experiences, your grinder experiences?
Yeah, did I tell you about it before? I can't remember.
You've told me.
Well, now I'm in a monogamous relationship. That's new in the past 2 months. So before I had a girlfriend, I was dating, I guess I was single-ish for like the last 2 years. And I did have a fairly active dating life. I do identify as bisexual, but for the last 2 years I was more with men, and primarily cis men, and then like some queer women and then some trans women. But primarily I was pretty active on Grindr and Scruff and Craigslist. And I played on the Muddy York, the gay rugby team, the past winter, so I met lots of gay dudes through that. Yeah, it was kind of, I had a lot of entertaining times on Grindr and Scruff as a trans man. I felt like it was another one of my part-time jobs to do a lot of educational services via Grindr and Scruff.
Only for survey, yeah, we get that. I do the same thing, yes. It's all for the community.
Service.
Yeah, exactly.
Joking aside, though, probably there's some truth to that, too, though, right?
What's that?
Joking aside, there is truth to that, though, right? When you're hooking up with gay men, teaching them about bodies and genitalia and stuff, right?
Well, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here, okay? Because I wouldn't mind people asking me about the nitty-gritty, but when you hook up with a guy on Grindr, he obviously knows that you're a trans man, or does he know, or does it matter?
Yeah, no, he would already know. I would always tell them beforehand. And actually that's where like most of my education just came from, like chatting and like photo sharing and having conversations and stuff when I felt patient enough to do that teaching. But when I would always it would say right in my profile that I was FTM. And half the time they didn't know what that meant, and then I'd have to explain it. And then I still met lots of guys that were still into me and still interested in hooking up or going on a date or whatever. But some weren't. But it's part of my life, I guess. Part of my experience.
Well, I think it's part of anybody's life. Not everybody's into every type, and so so that they all have their choice, of course, right? So if they decide to go with a trans guy, I find it interesting. I mean, I've been on that end of it, so.
Yeah, but I mean, one time. So there was a couple times when I went on a date with a guy before telling him I was trans, and I told him after the first date, and when he was really into me, and wanted to like go on a second date. Then after I told him I was trans, he didn't want to go on a date anymore. So I know that it was because I was trans.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But it's interesting how often that doesn't happen. It's interesting how often people will go through with it anyway, and it's like, you know what, I like the person for the person. Yeah. And that ends up becoming, I like that. That's kind of neat. I don't expect everyone to be into me, and I certainly don't expect everyone to be into me, when I tell them I'm a trans woman. I'm okay with that. I'm not that sensitive. But I'm always surprised and interested in the number of people that don't throw up.
Yeah, it's true.
It's like if I go to a straight bar, I mean, I never go home with a man that hits on me. I just wouldn't. But in the very rare occasion where, this guy's interesting, then I will tell him, just like you were saying. You always tell them in advance. But I'm always amazed at the number of them that actually say no. I'm not interested.
Like there's not very many, you mean?
There isn't. A lot of them, they still don't. They seem to not end up caring. Now, whether they already spotted the fact that I'm trans already, because I do find a lot of the trans lovers out there, in quotes, they know a trans woman as soon as they see one. And I don't know what it is. It's a new radar they're coming up with. So they know what
to look for.
Yeah, exactly. And so maybe that's part of the
because they like it. So.
Yes, no, exactly. So it's like they zero in, It's like, oh, that's a trans woman sitting in the middle of a straight bar, and that seems to turn them on even more when they see men hitting on me, and it's like, wow, this is, it's intriguing to them. So in your case, I don't really care one way or the other, to be honest, because when I go out to a bar, I'm not going out to cruise and get picked up. I usually just happen to be there for one purpose or another, but it's not that. I don't necessarily like meeting men in a bar because it's probably the lowest form. Well, it's true. I mean, they're only out there for one thing, and it's kind of like, and then they're hitting on you, and then 10 minutes later they're hitting on somebody else after you turned them down, and it's like, so that just kind of tells me you just want somebody, to get off with.
That's
I mean, how can I feel, Of course, depending how slutty I feel at the time. But anyway, that being said, when you go out to a bar, let's say, let me give you an example as going out to, you go out to a gay bar, for example. You have men hitting on you in a gay bar. I'm assuming that definitely happens. Okay, and what is the reaction in the bar situation?
To tell you the truth, that hasn't really happened to me. I've never really had that experience. I don't really go that much, and I often go to bed at 11 o'clock on Friday nights. But sometimes when I do, what's that?
Oh, so yeah, I was just saying it's a testimony to the times. I was going to predict that too about your answer when she said that. Well, no, just that people don't meet as much in bars. It's much more efficient when you're doing grinder and all those other things.
So basically, you're telling me I'm the only one left that meets people in a bar. What are you trying to say to me here?
Yeah, like if I don't
have grinder.
No, you wouldn't if you're a woman.
Well, this is what I'm talking about.
Why would you be on grinder?
What is out there for women and trans women? If there's no, is there a winder? I don't know.
Have you heard of Blender?
That's for the heteros, right? I'm sorry, the cis people? Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be interested in meeting people online and doing. Don't you find you get a lot of stupid questions? I have no patience for it.
That's why I said I would only do the teaching about trans men and sexuality when I've had the patience for it on Grindr. Wouldn't be all the time that I do it. Because
it never ends, does it, darling? They ask one question and then it never ends.
There's always another person to want to ask a ton of questions.
And it's kind of like, honey, I'm on here to get laid. You either want to have sex or you don't. I don't want to talk about, what I have between my legs. Let's get over it. Just get down to what I have between my legs, and that's that. But I find online is becoming. We've discussed this in the show before that the online thing is just it's to the point where it's just insane. But anyway, so that you're in a relationship now.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. We didn't meet online, actually.
Mhm.
So we met at the beach.
Wow. Well, that's good. Nothing left to the imagination. It's kind of like, okay, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, I know. Right? Hamlin too.
They really knew what they were getting. Okay, well.
Wow, you're picking up chicks at Hamlin's. That's pretty revolutionary.
Todd likes to talk about Hamlin's Point.
I love Hamlin. I like it. Yeah, I'm really upset that it's the fall now because I'd like to be going there this weekend, but it's not going to be warm enough, I don't think.
There's someone I know who was telling me that they have a boat, and a lot of the times during the summer they'll go out there on their boat, and they'll be a little distance from Hamlin's Point, but they think it's fascinating what goes on there. It sounds shocking to me. You know what amazes me though, Kinnan, is the number of people who will kind of look down on our nightclub a little because we're sex positive, even though there isn't sex happening everywhere, but we're very sex positive that way, in a responsible way. But meanwhile, they'll look down on that, but then they'll go to Hamlin's Point and they'll be screwing in the bushes.
Yeah.
That kind of surprises me, and I'm going, okay, why is that all right?
Yeah. I don't know. That doesn't make sense.
Did you say, did they still do that? That's what I've been told they do. Do they do that, Todd?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this friend of mine was telling me that they see that sort of thing all the time. They watch these orgies and people getting together and and having a gay old time. Yeah. But it sounds interesting. It's a voyeur's dream, I would think.
Yeah, it's a little hidden. You haven't been? Yeah, it's hidden. If you don't want to see it, you don't have to.
Yeah, you can really see it from a boat. So
what are you telling me? You're telling me my friend was lying?
Well, maybe your friend was exaggerating.
But I said to him, was it out in the open on the beach? And he said yes.
Yeah, no, if you go down a lot further, there could be some stuff, yeah.
Well, since he was on a boat, then he probably was.
Yeah. That's where I go. I go way down further. I'm all about the efficiency. I'm not there to socialize. I'm there to enjoy nature.
I think that's, of course you are. I'll have to go there one day with my parasol and everything, and maybe just show up and see what goes on firsthand. Instead of running around blindly trying to make comments, but. Yeah. It could be part of it. Maybe I'll bring the radio show there, Todd? Or kind of, just...
Live from Hamlin's
Point and ask people questions.
Interview people, yeah.
We could do that. It's all over the phone. I mean, it'd be perfect, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
walk around passing the phone to people.
Yes. Could you tell us, did you burn your wee-wee here or was it somewhere else? And, asking about that. That would be... Of course, I would get into trouble. You know what I'm like, Todd. I'd be going around encouraging people to have sex. You know, that's what I do best. I like to think of myself as an artist of that type. So you're not going to be coming to the sex parties then? Now that you're in a relationship, are you going to be, like, you know, behaving yourself?
Yeah, I guess so.
I hate it when people get into relationships. Then they become nuns and priests.
Yeah, no, I'll never be a nun or a priest.
All right, then. So you're still allowed to kind of go out and have a nice time?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's good to know then. So you really must come to one of our sex parties. Have you and I ever met in person? Have we met in person?
Yeah, didn't we meet? Didn't we meet at my birthday party? I came to one of the parties.
No, I wasn't at your birthday party.
I came to the pansexual play party.
Yes, and I had a broken ankle and I was at home.
Oh.
Todd, how could you not remember, Todd?
I don't remember when his birthday was. What month was it?
It was in April.
Yeah, she would be healing at that time, yeah.
Because I remember you came and you were helping out hosting, or, you know, you were... Todd said that you...
I said we actually should ask him back to be a host because he brought so many friends and they were all...
I brought a bunch of my friends there.
It was a posse.
See, this is what I heard. So the thing is, we actually didn't meet in person then, because I know we didn't. I would know. And even when you did Sodom, I wasn't there that night either.
Oh, well, we'll have to meet some night.
We will. We'll have to meet sometime.
Come out to Club 120.
Yes, no, please. Come by and visit. And, you know, it would be an interesting evening. Or maybe I'll get a chance to come out and see one of your events, maybe at the Hand House.
I love going to Club 120. Maybe I'll come
to the next. Do you enjoy it?
Sodom. I love going to Club 120.
Oh, good. Then maybe when you're coming next time, let me know. And we'll make sure that you're well looked after and you have a good time. Because we appreciate you being on the show and sharing this information. I mean, believe it or not everyone is comfortable talking about things this personal, and it is personal.
Ooh. Yeah, I don't mind sharing my life.
You know, and more people should do that because it's about educating the people out there who are scared, and that's what they are. That they're afraid. And there's a lot of trans women and trans men out there who get to a certain point in their life where they're just too afraid to go any further, and they don't have these role models out there speaking for them or trying to help them. They don't have a lot of resources. Even when you do deep searches on Google, I don't care what anybody says, there is not a lot of information still.
Yeah. Or there's so much information that it's overwhelming, and that it's great to have just a personal person telling their story in their own words. Makes up for all the...
Well, because a lot of you're right, Todd, a lot of the information out there is like you have to read paragraphs and paragraphs of things that are being jotted down by a medical professional who is not even terms you can even understand. You know, it's so deep. You know, but we've talked about this before with other guests we've had on there, are trans men and trans women, is the fact that we still have a long way to go when it comes to the trans community, and even in this country that's so open-minded and so, you know, but there's still more to do, and we have a lot of work ahead of us, you know.
That's definitely what I feel.
Oh yeah, and it's important that we do it. We have to do it for the young people coming up.
Absolutely.
And hopefully it's going to be easier. It's going to be easier for them, you know, to be able to live as trans folk. But anyway, Thank you, my darling, for being on the show. Ken and I appreciate it so much.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I hope I'll see you at Club 120 soon.
You're so welcome.
Get to meet in person.
Yes, I'm sure that we will meet eventually.
You on my Facebook all the time.
Yes, you know, I never shut up on there. So, right. So I'll talk to you soon. You have a good night, Kenan. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Bye, Todd.
Bye.
There it is. I was trying to find the end episode.